We've always been told gold is the ultimate store of value, the safe haven, the physical embodiment of wealth you can hold, trust, and rely on when everything else fails. For centuries, that's been the bedrock understanding. But spending time really thinking about value, about what actually functions as money in critical moments, led me down a different path. I started seeing something else, something less obvious, that in many real-world scenarios holds far more functional power than a lump of shiny metal. It's what I've come to think of as invisible money, and it's often more valuable than gold. This isn't about the daily market price fluctuations. This is about fundamental utility and potential in the world we live in now. Our economy, our interactions, they've shifted dramatically. We operate in an age dominated by information, by digital access, by concepts that can scale globally overnight. And in this landscape, the nature of true value has also shifted. Even if our perception hasn't quite caught up, let's break down what this invisible money actually looks like. Consider precise, actionable information. Imagine knowing, with certainty, before anyone else, about a massive corporate merger that will send a stock soaring, or a critical vulnerability in a competitor's product, or the exact location of a newly discovered, scarce resource needed for the next generation of technology. In that specific window of time, before the information becomes public, possessing that knowledge is functionally equivalent to possessing immense wealth. Gold sitting in a vault is static. It can't do anything on its own. But that piece of information, if acted upon correctly, can generate fortunes almost instantaneously. It allows you to position yourself to make moves that capture value that hasn't even materialized yet for the rest of the world. The gold might buy you things after the fact, but the information created the opportunity out of thin air. It's pure potential energy, convertible directly into economic power. Now, how does this apply to everyday life? It's about recognizing the power of timely knowledge. It might not be insider trading, but think about knowing about a local zoning change before it hits the news, potentially affecting property values, or learning about a specific skill set that's about to be in high demand in your industry before everyone else starts retraining, or even just having accurate information quickly in a personal emergency. Being informed, truly informed, and able to act on that information is a form of personal capital. It allows you to navigate situations more effectively, avoid pitfalls, and seize opportunities that others miss simply because they didn't know. Valuing and seeking out good, timely information is cultivating a form of personal wealth. Then there's the power of a validated, disruptive idea. Think about the core concept behind something like Google's search algorithm, before it was a company, or the initial blueprint for a truly revolutionary medical device. Before the patents, before the funding rounds, before the physical product exists, the idea itself, once its potential and feasibility are reasonably clear, holds staggering value. It's pure potential, the seed from which entire industries can grow. An investor looking at that raw, validated concept isn't just buying a plant. They're buying access to a potential future worth billions, maybe trillions. A vault full of gold represents existing, realized value. A groundbreaking, validated idea represents future value on a scale that gold often can't match in terms of multiplication. It's the ultimate leverage, a mental construct that can reshape reality and generate wealth, far exceeding any physical commodity. The life application here is about valuing creativity and problem solving, both in ourselves and others. Don't dismiss your own what-if moments too quickly. That idea for a more efficient process at work, that concept for a small business solving a local problem, that unique perspective you bring, these have potential value. Nurturing good ideas, testing them, validating them, even on a small scale, is like mining your own internal invisible money. It requires recognizing that innovation and conceptual breakthroughs are primary drivers of value creation in our world, not just physical resources. And perhaps the most literal example today is the private key to a massive cryptocurrency wallet. What is a private key? It's essentially a very complex, secret password. It's just a string of characters, pure information. It weighs nothing, takes up virtually no space, can be memorized or stored on a tiny device. Yet, that specific sequence of information is the direct control, the ownership, the functional equivalent of potentially millions or billions of dollars in digital assets. Lose the key, you lose the fortune. Possess the key, you possess the fortune. Compare that to owning the equivalent value in gold. Think of the logistics, the security, the storage, the difficulty of moving it quickly or discreetly across borders. The private key, this piece of invisible information, offers a level of portability, secrecy, and direct control over vast sums that physical gold simply cannot replicate in the digital age. The information is the asset. What's the takeaway for us? It highlights the increasing importance of digital security and understanding access. Your passwords, your secure logins, the keys to your digital life. These aren't just conveniences, they are gatekeepers to value. Whether it's your bank account, your work platform, or personal files, Controlling access is controlling value. Furthermore, it broadens the idea of access as a form of wealth. Access to influential networks, access to specialized knowledge platforms, access to opportunities. These are intangible assets, forms of keys that unlock potential. Much like a crypto, private key unlocks digital funds. Cultivating and protecting your access points is crucial. So, what ties these examples together? The actionable intel, the disruptive idea, the digital key, it's their intangible nature. They are forms of value rooted in information, potential, and access, rather than physical substance. They represent a shift where the abstract, the conceptual, the informational, can hold more functional power and potential for growth than the traditionally tangible. Why don't we typically see it this way? Why isn't this common knowledge, as the original thought suggested? I think it's because our cultural programming around wealth is deeply rooted in the physical. Gold has thousands of years of history. As money, it's tangible, universally recognized, and feels inherently real. Information, ideas, digital keys. They feel ephemeral, abstract. It's harder to grasp their value intuitively. Furthermore, the speed at which technology has enabled these intangible forms of value to dominate has outpaced our collective understanding. We're still operating with mental models of wealth built for an industrial, physical age, while living in an informational, digital one. This isn't to say gold has no value. It absolutely does, as a store of value, a hedge, a physical asset with historical significance. But the claim that it's always the most valuable thing, the ultimate form of money in every practical sense, deserves scrutiny. In critical moments of opportunity, in leveraging future potential, and in the realm of digital assets. Invisible forms of value, pure information, validated concepts, secure access keys, often hold the superior power. Recognizing this shift is important. It changes how we might think about investing, about security, about what skills are valuable, and even about how we perceive our own potential. The real wealth, the kind that generates exponential returns or provides critical leverage, might not be something you can lock in a vault. It might be the knowledge in your head, the idea you're developing, or the digital key on your encrypted drive. That's the invisible money, often hiding in plain sight, and in the right context, worth far more than its weight in gold. So, understanding this concept is one thing, but how do we actually cultivate this kind of value in our own lives? In simple, everyday ways. It's not about becoming spies or tech geniuses overnight. It's about shifting our focus slightly in the things we already do. Start with information. Instead of just passively consuming headlines, make a small effort to dig a little deeper on topics that genuinely interest you or affect your life and work. Read beyond the summary. Follow reliable, diverse sources. Even dedicating 15 minutes a day to focused learning or reading about trends in your field builds a knowledge base. This isn't about knowing everything. It's about developing a better filter and recognizing patterns others might miss. Over time, this habit leads to better decisions. It's accumulating informational capital, bit by bit. Then, pay attention to ideas, yours and others. Keep a simple note on your phone or a small notebook. When you encounter a frustration, a small inefficiency, or think there should be a better way to do this, jot it down. Don't censor it. Just capture the thought. Most ideas won't be world-changing, but the habit of noticing problems and potential solutions trains your mind to think creatively and critically. Occasionally reviewing these notes might spark a connection, lead to a small improvement at work, or even plant the seed for a side project. This is exercising your idea muscle, recognizing that even small insights have potential value. Finally, think about access and connection in small ways. Maintain your professional network, not just when you need something, but through simple check-ins or sharing relevant information. Be mindful of your digital security. Using strong, unique passwords and enabling two-factor authentication isn't just a chore. It's protecting your access to valuable digital assets and information. These small acts build social capital and safeguard your digital footprint, which are increasingly valuable forms of access and security in our connected world. None of these actions are drastic, but practiced consistently, they subtly shift your orientation towards valuing and cultivating these intangible assets. They make you slightly more informed, more observant, more connected, and more secure. These aren't get-rich-quick schemes. They are ways to build a more resilient and opportunity-aware foundation in your life, leveraging the power of invisible value. That's the perspective I wanted to share today. Thanks for watching and thinking through this with me. Before you go, take a moment to check out the description below. There might be something there that could be helpful for you.